Hello, welcome to Back to School Night, February 2021. So my name is Holly Martin. I am the new social studies teacher at Calico High School. So the classes that I'm teaching this semester are American Studies and Psychology. So I'm very excited about both of these classes. This is my first year at the high school, but I taught 2 years at the middle school. So I've had a few of the psychology students in 8th grade when I taught at the middle school. So here's a little bit about me. So I have a 1.5-year-old border collie named Kenya. So she's very cute. She loves to run and play. She loves the snow, so she's very excited about all of the snow that we've gotten recently. She likes to jump in it and dig and catch snowballs. She likes to go on walks. She likes to go to the park. She likes to chew up toys, all kinds of fun dog stuff. I'm the oldest of 6 kids, so you can see there's a picture of my family there. So I have 1 brother and 4 sisters. Some of the things that I like to do outside of school: I like to travel when it is not coronavirus time. So there's a picture of me in London when I traveled to England a few years ago. I like to bake, so there's some things that I've baked. I did some baking over our long snowy weekend we had recently, so that was nice and relaxing. So here's my educational background. I went to Garden Spot High School. I graduated from there. Then I went to Grove City College, which is in western Pennsylvania, about 45 minutes north of Pittsburgh. It's really close to the Ohio-Pennsylvania border. So I graduated with a bachelor's degree in history and a concentration in social studies education. So psychology. So the course description for psychology. Psychology is the study of human behavior. Psychologists attempt to explain why people behave, feel, and think as they do. So that is the description of psychology. So our goals and objectives for this course: students will get a broad-based understanding of the field of psychology. They'll be able to apply psychological principles to their own experiences, and they will gain a better understanding of their own and others' minds and cognitive processes. So this is kind of an overview course of psychology. If you would take a psychology class in college, it'd be a little more in-depth, but this is a high school level psychology class. So here's some of the things we cover in psychology. We cover a lot of things, so we go over things pretty quickly in some units. So we start with the field of psychology. So what is psychology? What's the history of psychology? Who are some major psychologists? We look at methods of psychology. How do we collect data? How do we study psychology? Then we look at the brain and the body and how that affects our behaviors, so the parts of the brain, the nervous systems, etc. We look at sensation and perception, so how do our senses line up with what we actually perceive and understand. Motivation and emotions, so what motivates us, what creates our emotions. We look at consciousness, so in that unit we look at things like sleep. We look at learning and memory, so how do we learn? What are different types of ways to learn? How do we remember things? Why do we forget things? Intelligence and creativity, so what is intelligence? How do we test intelligence? Things like that. Then we do infancy and childhood development, so we do adolescent development, adulthood and aging. We look at gender briefly and the differences between the genders. We look at different theories of personality, take some personality tests. We look at conflict, stress, and coping and how stress and anxiety affect us. We look at mental disorders and how those mental disorders are treated. And then we look at social cultural influences, so some social psych at the end. So here's my class expectations. These are my 5 class rules. So we have be respectful, be attentive, be responsible, be on time, and be prepared. So students are expected to be respectful to everyone and everything in the classroom. They're expected to pay attention whether they're participating at home or if they're participating in class. They're expected to be responsible for their own actions, for following the rules, keeping up with their work, checking in and working if they're at home, participating virtually. Students are expected to be on time, coming to class, or checking in from home, and expected to be on time turning in assignments. They're expected to be prepared, bring anything that they need to class, have their computer charged, make sure they're studying for tests and quizzes, all of that kind of stuff. So grading. So the grade for this class, the final grade, is based on 3 different components. So 40% of the grade comes from marking period 1, 40% from marking period 2, and 20% from the final project and exam. So if we have both a final project and a final exam, which is the plan, they'll both be 10%. But if it's like this semester where final exams were not required, then it would be 20% for the project. Each of the marking period grades is determined by the following things. So 75% of the marking period grade comes from assessments and major assignments. So these are the big cumulative kind of assignments and assessments to see what the students have actually learned. So these would be things like tests, quizzes, projects, writing assignments, Socratic seminars, things like that. Anything that's major and kind of tells me what students have actually learned. And then 25% comes from classwork, homework, and participation activities. So these are more the practice activities that we would do in class. Some assignments to note. So there's 2 article research projects. So the students will find 2 articles, 1 each quarter. So 1 from the first marking period, 1 from the second. So 2 articles. They're going to read it and then create a 1-page paper and then present that information to the class. And then another assignment is the final project is a project where they're going to research a mental disorder and create kind of a portfolio of information about that specific disorder. Late work. So I do take late work. So major assignments, that 75% category, it's always due at 11:59 the day that it is due. You lose about 2% per day that it's late, so up to 25% off. So every day that it's not turned in, it's another 2% off. I do not accept late work after the end of the marking period. Classwork and homework, that's that 25% category. You get a 2-day grace period where you don't lose any points for turning it in late. After those 2 days, it's about 5% off per day, up to 25% off. I do not accept it after the end of the marking period. Resubmission policy. So I know that sometimes you have a bad day taking a test and you don't do very well, or you didn't understand the directions of the project or something like that. And when it's a 75% category, it is pretty detrimental when you don't do well on a big assignment like that or a test. So I do allow all my tests and quizzes to be retaken 1 time each, so you can retake each of the tests or quizzes. However, the student has to show me that they've done something to prepare for their retest, so whether that's filling out a study guide, doing flashcards, coming to work with me during focus, something like that, then they can retake it and they'll get the better of the 2 scores. Or you can do test corrections, which are available instead of retesting, so you would just fix the points, fix the questions that you missed on the test, and then you could get some of the points back, so you can get about half credit back. Also, major assignments, so any project or writing assignment or something like that, can be revised and resubmitted 1 time, and that can be any time throughout the marking period. After the marking period is ended, you can't resubmit an assignment. But again, you'll get the higher of the 2 scores. So what can you do as a parent to help your child in psychology class? So first, encourage your student to participate when they're either online or in class. So hopefully we don't have too many days when they're at home, but if we do have some more online days, encourage them to participate. Urge your students to advocate for themselves when they don't understand something, or contact me if they have any questions or need help. It's hard for me to know that they're confused, especially if they're working from home, if they don't ask me any questions. So if they are confused, have them send me a message on Schoology and I'll be happy to help. Remind them to turn in assignments on time. Ask them what they've learned in class and have them teach it to you. So one of the best ways to remember something or make sure you understand something is to explain it to someone else. So if you can explain it to someone else, then you understand it better yourself and will remember it better. So if you ask them about what they're learning and have them explain it to you, that'll help them remember it. You can also check PowerSchool for any missing work or Schoology for any upcoming assignments and help them keep up with things that they're missing. And as always, you can contact me with any questions or concerns about anything in the class. So that is all I have. I hope you have a great afternoon or rest of the day. I will hopefully talk to some of you sometime. Bye-bye.